So here we have the core team of MotoGP, so where we keep all the people together, design, art, and so we try to concentrate and work together to make everything in a compact and fast and agile way. More or less we have 15, 20, 40, 50, even more people working on the project, depending on the stage of production. Right now the game is more or less finished because it's due to the 6th of June, but we're still working on the content we can deliver in a day one patch, in future updates. We are working on marketing, on producing material for promoting the game. So the fact that the game is physically finished is not actually an end for the project. Yeah, we're still working hard on many aspects that we're going to improve and deliver later in time. For example, Carmine, that is the lead artist, is working on some promotional screens. These screens are taken directly from in-game, so there is actually no Photoshop involved to make the images better. What you see in the screens is actually what you see in the game. That is something we are proud of. There is no made better with, it's something that you can achieve into the game directly. Here we have how we make the vehicles that are sometimes made by external outsourcers, and then they are all in contact with Federica that works with them and coordinates the efforts of these people. And then there is some last touches inside for the materials, for all the tweaking aspects of the production. We need external production because we try to deliver in June the game, while it's something that it's incredibly hard because the teams are unveiled in Losail in their final shape. So we have to really rush, and we have to make in parallel all the production of all the bikes, of all the categories, in order to hit the June date.
And then you have a direct contact with the real teams of MotoGP?
Not with the teams, because we work with Dorna, and they luckily provide all the materials we need. If we had to go to all the teams, it would be a nightmare because there are something like 50 teams in all the classes. So having to be in contact with all these people from different nations would be a nightmare. Instead, we work with Dorna. They deal with the teams. They hold some shooting sessions, so we can gather all the materials. We can be there, capture additional materials so that we can coordinate better.
And then you have feedback from the teams or from Dorna?
Oh, absolutely. Everything has to be seen, approved, and modified if some sponsors are not correct, some shapes are not correct. So everything has to be really spot on. Here we have another example how we work on the textures for the tracks. We have several technologies to create the tracks involving drone scanning. We fly drones. They capture the shape of the track. Yes. So we have very precise shapes of the tracks, something you can more or less match against a laser scan. It's just a different technique. So we can be very precise, but then there is still some artworking to make them look very realistic, very shiny, or very corrupted on some aspects. So you have to work very in detail to make everything look very natural. Then we have other people in this room that have been working or are still working on MotoGP. We have some artists that work on the user interface. We have programmers. We have other people that work on the vehicles, on the art direction, for lighting, for everything, to make lighting is like in cinema.
Yeah.
A good scene is nothing without light. So when you start working on light, everything can be made better, or on the other side
And
worse.
you have also cycles of change of lighting during the race.
No, because the races are relatively short, something like 40 minutes, so you don't even notice. But we support different light conditions, and we try to mimic different hours of different moments of the year, because we have races that are in
Winter.
April, there are races that are in November, so we try to mimic all the different conditions of the weather of the sun. We support rain, everything that can happen in real MotoGP will happen in here.
How is it to work with a yearly game that you must?
It's a challenge because you have to rush on one side to make the game complete every year. You don't have a long time to make a game you can ship, you can sell. So you have to work in bursts, but at the same time, it's a challenge because you have to find something meaningful to give to the people every year. So you are between these two extremes, being fast, but at the same time delivering something people want,
Yes.
to buy and to play with. So we have to be very careful in balancing these two different needs.
And I suppose that there are things that you can achieve in a year, but
Sometimes
there
you
are
think
something that you-
forward. Let's not try to put this thing this year, maybe the next one. Sometimes something arrives sooner than expected because, I don't know, it's easier than you thought before. Sometimes it seems like you can reach it, but it's very hard, like the neural AI. So we had to rush a lot to make it the development faster, because it was something we could do, but we understood that it was very, very hard. So we had to buy some new machines where to run the system while it was training. We had to rush integrating more people working on the. It was hard. So it was something that was just you can grasp it, but you have to try harder. And we made it. So it was a good effort. Now we're walking to an area where people are not only working on MotoGP, but on their support teams. Like in this room, there's the research and development. We use Unreal Engine, but this doesn't mean that we don't need a team for developing the engine. We need to customize the engine, we need to extend it, we need to integrate new features. We need to make a lot of things that have to be done at a root level of the system. So these people worked before.
For making the real engine works for you.
Yeah, and because we are among the few that make racing games with it. So we have little special needs. These people worked before on our in-house engine, but when we switched to the Unreal, they moved to Unreal working on basically the same things. Instead, in here, we have different people working on the online. We have a new online system based on servers, so it's been quite a revolution for us. But other people working on the physics and on some aspects related to how the bikes behave on the track, all these things, animations when you fall. And again, this kind of things can be ported to all the games, so have to be developed at a root level and then brought up to the games.
So then is the first time that you have servers for the online?
Yes, we had peer-to-peer before. We had servers for storage, for sharing materials, libraries, but for gameplay, it's the first time we use the servers. This is some legacy
Yes.
material because we made also some car racing
Yes, I have
games.
this,
We have
this wheel.
storage rooms filled with steering wheels, pedal boards, and tons of things that
You must
who
test.
knows when we're going to use next. We're concentrating on motorbike games for some time because we have several licenses, several championships, our own IP that is Ride, so lots of things to concentrate with, only with two wheels. And this is an area.
Also, the World Real Rally.
No, we
titles?
don't make the rally titles anymore because we had at least 4 licenses, for teams dedicated to. So, okay,
Yeah, it's okay for you.
maybe next. We have a room where we used to test the esports because with MotoGP we are at the 3rd season of esports. So we obviously have to create a build that is somehow customized for the events, has to be tested, has to be perfect because when you go live on TV you cannot afford to make mistakes. So it's something that we have to be very, very prepared and very, very sure about. So it's even one of the efforts that are going to come later on in this year. In here we have some other people working on the off-road teams. They are working on some other games. And they're a completely different team working on the title.
Yes, you share. And which is your role here? Only for GP or also?
I
in
work
these
on
titles?
no. I work only on MotoGP. Being the producer, you have to focus on only one title.
You are right now thinking also in the next MotoGP title?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You have to always plan in advance because time runs very fast and you don't have to be unprepared. So as I was saying, you have to always plan in advance of at least 1 year and think, and any idea that doesn't work this year might work next year. So yeah.